Hey guys, Coach K here from Strengthen Your Stride. I want to talk today a little bit about opportunity. For starters, I created opportunity for myself today when I got myself out the door for my run. I have to admit, I had a little trouble getting out the door this morning. I was a little not necessarily unmotivated, but just feeling tired. So I guess that's kind of like not being motivated. But I hadn't slept well for a couple nights, and so this morning I was thinking more about going back to bed than I was of lacing up the running shoes and getting out for my long run. So I created opportunity for myself to become more fit by lacing up those shoes and getting out the door and just getting it done. So I'm happy I did that. I knew I'd get into the groove once I got started. The hardest part is always just getting out the door. So once I did that, I knew the rest would come easier. So as I got into the run and got into the pace, and then I just get into the groove from there. So it went well. I had a 16-mile run today with 4 miles in the middle with no rest between at threshold pace. So that was at a pretty decent clip. And I gotta say, I'm pretty happy with the way it went today. And I've also kind of been feeling lately that I may be getting a little bit faster. It's hard to tell because there's not really any live races on the calendar. I've done a few virtual races and I've been fairly happy with my performances. And then also because I've been sticking with workouts twice a week, I think I'm really starting to see some improvements in my running, even still, as a master's runner. But here's what I really wanted to talk about today, which is opportunity. Right now, I look at our current situation as a huge opportunity for a lot of us to work on things that we haven't spent much time on before. So that might mean working more on or putting more of a focus on warming up, warming down, on our recovery between workouts so we can give each workout its best. Or possibly it's performance training and doing some mobility work or running specific strength training that we hadn't done before. Whatever it is that you hadn't really put much focus on in the past, now is a great time to spend a little bit of time focusing your efforts in one area or possibly more than one area. So for me, a few things that I've been doing is I've been warming up quite a bit before my runs. That's because I like to get up early, so I use that extra morning or extra time in the morning. I have some coffee. I start my mobility routine, which is also something new for me. And this mobility routine is my warm-up. So not only am I now doing more of a warm-up, but I'm also working on my mobility. A lot of times we don't even know the places that we're stuck until we try to move them. So, for example, there's one exercise that I do. It's called windshield wipers. I lay on my stomach, I take my knees wide, and one leg lays flat on the floor while the other one is bent at 90 degrees. And then I take that foot and I move it like a windshield wiper back and forth with the leg still bent at 90 degrees, trying to touch my foot to the back of the other leg when I come that direction, and then trying to get as close to the floor as I can when I move it out the other direction. that is a specific exercise where I was stuck. And I was stuck there when I had an injury prior to running in the Olympic trials in Atlanta, Georgia, this past February. And wasn't that a blessing to be able to get that in before our current events? So, certainly thankful for that. But what I'm trying to say is you don't really know where you're stuck until you really start getting into it. You may not know where to start to look for ways that you're stuck. So working with a coach or a personal trainer is a great way to, have someone look at your movements and help you identify where you should have more range of motion. And then from there, working on achieving that normal range of motion if you're outside the normal range. So when we're inhibited in our range, our muscles are too. That means our muscles are not firing with as much force and power as they would be if we were more mobile in those areas. So I have to say, hands down, mobility is probably one of the things that a lot of people don't spend enough time on and really should in order to get those joints moving the way they should, to allow the muscles to fire with the power and the potential that they have to really unlock your running potential. And again, that may be a tough area to focus on if you're not sure where to start. So I do have to say, I'm happy to help you with that. I've been reading a lot in Jay DeCherry's Running Rewired book, which definitely helps with some of those mobility exercises. But then also, having been around the block a few times and having, acquired a few injuries of my own over the years, I've gained some experience in the physical therapist's office and learned some exercises that help with mobility. And those exercises are ones that I continue to do even today. And really, anyone who has been through an injury and has received exercises or been assigned exercises from their PT, when you know what exercises feel good and jive with your body and your needs, then you should certainly continue those exercises. I would say at least once a week. But anyway, that should give you a little bit of background on mobility. And, again, Jay DeCherry's Running Rewired book goes into this topic in depth. And especially in how it, we can really unlock our potential through opening our mobility in our body. So if you need assistance with that, that's one way. Another is you can contact me through my website. You can book a consult with me. I'm happy to talk to you about that through a free consult. But then also, another way is you can work with me virtually through personal training sessions. Those have been going really well at this time right now. People are taking advantage of those personal training sessions. They're working really well. So if you think that's something you want as well, reach out to my website. It's strengthenyourstride.coach. And you will see a button on my website that says to book a consult. And that is one way you can reach out to me. Otherwise, my email is also attached to this podcast and my phone number. So moving on from mobility is performance training. So I love performance training. Before the gyms closed, I would be in there doing I would be doing heavy lifts. I would be found in the corner by the squat racks, doing my heavy squats and deadlifts and single leg deadlifts with the landmine. I had a certain routine that I was doing each week. I would do that heavy lift workout once a week, and then I had like a ball and resistance band workout that I would do the other day of the week, and that supplemented my running. Well, now that the gym's closed, I still continue my ball and exercise band. It's exercise ball and a resistance band workout that I do, and I still continue that and insert different moves and exercises each week just to keep things stimulated there and working on different muscles. But that's another thing that we can be working on right now in this time of opportunity, because some of us have more time on our hands, and I have to admit there are some people who are busier now than they've ever been. So it is about finding that time for some of us. But the reason I label it as opportunity is because you don't have a race on the calendar. Our excuse before was always that we were in training and it was hard to fit this extra stuff in outside of the training that we were doing already. So, now we have that opportunity to fit in these different types of training, and I recommend doing it. Search for something that you haven't focused on before, put a little bit of time and effort into it, and see how it translates into your runs. So again, the things that I've been doing are really focusing on warm-ups and warm-downs. I've always focused on recovery and making sure that I'm primed and ready and recovered for my next big workout so I can give it everything I have, or at least what it requires. And then I'm working on this performance training, running specific strength and mobility work in between. The last thing I want to mention is it doesn't have to be mobility or performance training that you focus on. Maybe your focus is speed. So if you've constantly been in a marathon training cycle one after another, maybe it's time to hit the pause button and start training for a fast 5K or a fast mile. So there have been a few race series out there for miles, as well as, any race distance that you want. So you could do a series of 5Ks and see your performance get better over time. So these are all things that you can be doing in our current situation. These are all opportunities to make ourselves better and stronger, build our foundation, which we didn't have time to do before because we were too busy training for a live race. So now that races are not on the calendar, other than those that we schedule virtually, this is your time to shine, folks. And again, if you have any questions about how to incorporate this into your training, feel free to reach out. I am Kay Dunn at strengthenyourstride.coach. Also, you can check out my website, strengthenyourstride.coach. Or contact me. Check out my Facebook page for tips and tricks, and I also have a YouTube channel where I hope to add some of these exercises that I talked about today. All right, guys, that's it for now. Hope you enjoyed the podcast today, and we'll talk to you next week. Have a great week.